This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our supreme and master speakers, Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Circa Barakeel, Remy Asalia, Arcadia Lunashine, Alex Franco AV, Casey Schaefer, Azuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimsdaughter, Nat Clay, Lily Black, Bob CC, Mikta Rabentau, Faris Jantoru, Sapa Chakwatol, Edwin, Umbral Wind, Quick Levin, Winebow Brood, Pamela Isley, Camille Grinnell, Elenriel Maximus, Codrid No, Mira Miri, Bay Barbalay, Suna Chicano, Celesto Notrell, Lazy Boy, Abaga Dragon Knight, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Storm Arrow, Tex, Yowie Wowie, Kai Lin, and Chibi Duo. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Aorcians. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 261. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston, Mela Vanadar, and no one else. Rollo's not here today, so deal with it. Today, we're going to cover a Famitsu interview with the maid. Famitsu interview with the maid. Wouldn't that be interesting? Famitsu interview with the dev team, translated by Akh Morning. We'll also talk about the information that was dropped during the Mana data center stress test. Now that was interesting. Stay tuned for the post show. We'll be answering questions from the Syndicate, and we'll be watching Minimum Eye Level from the Great Goobol Library. That was
hard.
Oh yeah, hard. It was a difficult episode to edit.
It was interesting.
Difficult thing to edit because there's a lot. There was
high quality humor.
Something happens at a very specific point in the video where all it takes for us is to say one thing, and it's either like pee pee or poo poo, and if that is spoken, those words are spoken, we derail immediately. Yes, Camilo. So there's a lot of that, and I cut a lot of it out. There's still a lot of it throughout the entire episode. So enjoy that. That is in the post show. So make sure you catch.
I thought you'd regret saying that a lot.
Yeah. Regrets. Lots of regrets in that video. All right. Channel updates. 1.0 stream is on August 31st on Tuesday, and that's Tuesday this week. And same with movie night, not on Tuesday, but this week, Thursday, September 2nd. That's for patrons, so make sure you suggest movies. It's pinned in the Patreon chat. Okay, that's it. Let's jump into some recent events. Woo! You know what? We're gonna start with everyone's what? What happened?
No, it's just
okay.
Final Fantasy 14 online store again.
Yes. Yes. Everyone's favorite part of recent events is when we update you on the latest on the Final Fantasy 14 online store. There are new optional items and an adventurer celebration sale, which started on Friday, August
And a very
27th.
interesting change they've made.
Yes, a little addendum.
Oh yes, that's true. So yeah, the sale started on Friday, August 27th, and new optional items will also be added. That is optional items from the Rising last year. Yes, so Sultana 7 painting and wind up Ardbert. Okay, so there is an addendum here at the bottom. We have confirmed fraudulent activities involving purchases of large quantities of discounted gift codes. As such, gift code purchases will be unavailable for discounted items. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate your understanding. So, what is that?
It must be resellers.
Right. So they buy it and then they sell it at higher price. Is that what it is? Or
Probably like off if they sell it off sale for higher than the sale price but less than the normal price, they'll
Yeah.
get sales probably. But
true.
why would I wouldn't? I have
That's
a
such a-
strong distrust of people anyway. I would never buy
Yeah,
one.
that's such a roundabout method of obtaining something from the Final Fantasy XIV online store.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
not saving that much money, are you?
Right. No. Well, there you go. Now you cannot buy discounted items with gift codes.
Which is unfortunate that because of a few bad people, we're not allowed to gift discounted items to other people.
Yeah. That's usually why we can't have nice things, is because people are bad.
Yeah.
So just wire people the money directly.
You might be able to give Krista.
Can you
Still,
gift
maybe.
Krista?
I don't know. Never tried it.
I feel like Chris is such an antiquated system.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I even forget that you can still buy it.
Yeah. I don't know if you can.
Someone find out, and if you can, then do that. And if not, sorry.
I thought Krista also isn't Krista like slowly being like removed? Like it's the support.
so.
I
is
like
unlocked more and more
Krista.
things.
I know you like Krista, but that's because you don't like having your card directly attached to the store.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid that it will get the
Something.
bank will yeah.
Well,
and then
There's some
and then you'll
fear.
get locked out, and then you'll have to
Well,
talk to the Square Enix corporate.
Yeah, definitely that. But especially in the old days when you couldn't even have a basket, I would just buy I would add it all up in calculator to find out how much Krista I'd need, and then buy the Krista in one go, and then just buy everything individually with Krista.
Well, there you go. I don't know if we can. We don't know if you can gift Krista. Figure someone in chat or people in the comments. Let us know.
Sorry.
The word I was thinking of earlier was you're afraid of your bank doing a charge back to Square Enix.
Oh yeah, because once you
The ultimate
chargeback is-
account ban.
that's how you die. Yeah, that's how you die.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about 14's congestion problems, and Square Enix issued a statement on the Lodestone. Yoshida issued a statement on the Lodestone last week, or this week actually. An update regarding North American and EU data center congestion and next steps. Greetings, Final Fantasy XIV players. This is your producer and director, Naoki Yoshida. I'd like to say a huge thank you for the support from our players around the world, including those of you who recently started your adventures in Final Fantasy XIV. On the other hand, the number of simultaneous logins has continued to hit the upper limit, especially in the case of the North American and European data centers and worlds. And as such, I'd like to provide an update regarding the current situation and the need to designate certain worlds as congested. Increased login caps for European data centers. During the patch 5.58 hotfix maintenance scheduled for August 24th, we will be changing the operating system settings for the server configuration of the European data centers, and the login cap will be increased once we have confirmed stability post-maintenance. Furthermore, in late September, we are also planning to replace some of our equipment with high-performance machines to further increase the cap. We've observed...
Wow.
Yeah. We've observed considerable levels of congestion on the European data center over the past few weeks, especially during weekends. Though login queues have been quite long, please rest assured that they are working properly. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we ask that you continue to wait for your turn to log in should you encounter a queue. Well, what else can you do?
Be British.
Yeah, be British, wait in line.
Or Japanese. What else can you do? I mean, back in the day, you could have cancelled it and then got
good old
straight
days.
back in.
Yeah, that's true. That was like the way to log in. Like it's so in my fingertips that I still almost do it. Like I tap the num0 like 6 times to log in. Classifying all Ether data center worlds as congested. As of the patch 5.58 hotfix maintenance, all worlds on the Ether data center have been classified as congested. Despite expanding the maximum capacity as much as possible and closely monitoring the situation, the number of logins for each world have constantly remained at full capacity, which led us to taking this course of action. This means players will be unable to create new characters on any world on the Ether data center until this classification is lifted. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience this will cause for those of you who were looking forward to embarking on adventures with friends. Were the number of characters to increase any further, it could result in login queues taking up to several hours, which is why we needed to take this approach. In the meantime, we kindly request that you consider creating a character on a world within the Primal or Crystal data centers, though we are aware that they're currently quite congested as well. Once again, we sincerely apologize for the inconvenience this will cause for our players on the North American data center.
Sometimes I'm grateful that Goblin was split off onto Crystal rather than kept on Ether.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's quite wild that as a result of this, will he talk about it here at all? Oh, yeah, we will talk about it after this. To address the congestion situation, our infrastructure and development teams are working closely to plan large-scale solutions, such as expanding our data centers or adding new worlds. As previously mentioned, however, there is an ongoing global shortage and increased demand for semiconductors, and quite frankly, we're still struggling to source the required equipment. This is so true. You don't have no idea how horrible this is. Like, in addition to my computer dying, we have a second computer, which is the one that we use for audio, like the audio usually that you'll hear Georgi and Mela on. Actually, that's where their audio is coming from right now. That computer it's not good. It's not doing so well. I need a Raspberry Pi. A simple thing, you'd think. There's a waiting list for a Raspberry Pi. And I've been on that list for 3 weeks already.
Whew.
It's crazy. And it goes for anything. If I need anything that contains like a chip, like anything, they're usually sold out or like very limited like stock. So help. Help. Okay. Additionally, the recent resurgence of COVID-19 cases in Japan has raised major concerns regarding our ability to travel overseas for on-site implementations. These setbacks have made it difficult for us to cut down on the time required for implementation. Considering the current situation, we will likely require more time in implementing our large-scale solutions. The circumstances surrounding our infrastructure are far from ideal, but I promise that we will continue to persevere in implementing any solutions we can. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. Naoki Yoshida.
It's fair.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't the times we were living in, I'd feel like they were just being lazy and not wanting to put new servers in, but, I mean, can't get anything anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Remember, PlayStation 5 has not been available since release, and that's almost been a year now.
And they've
which is unacceptable, really.
Didn't they recently, like, there was like an update to like the models of the PS5? Like, they've made it slightly smaller, like it's a little lighter now. They changed a screw at the bottom, and I'm like, oh, great news. But when are you gonna make them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy. Even
this time sucks.
Even the new isn't there like a new Switch? Is that out already or is it coming?
Yeah, one with a different screen.
Yeah, the OLED.
I don't think it's out yet, is it?
I don't think so either.
But stores are already preparing to like put in like bot countermeasures. What is this world we are in? Why didn't we see it coming? Did it just
no one
happen?
Saw the pandemic happening at the same time.
That's true. The pandemic fucked shit up, but it's crazy.
I don't know much about there's production line of semiconductors.
I guess what happened was like it was the pandemic hit, and then there was also the cryptocurrency bullshit that was happening at the same time, where everyone's just buying them for the cards. Anyways, a very horrible situation we're in.
Yeah. Stop trying to make money off Ponzi schemes and let us have our cards.
I don't know if I'd say that they're necessarily equivalent. I can see the comparison.
Your RTX 3090 will not make you millions. You're literally gonna need
and you will tank your RTX 3090.
You need a lot. You would need a lot. There are entire farms of cryptocurrency mines in China.
You need a couple of $1 million to get enough.
People go into those like sheds, and they feel the desire to remove all clothing because of the fact that it's like above 50 degrees in there.
Yep. Yeah.
Terrible.
Anyways, there you go. We understand the issue. This is not something Square Enix is making up. There literally is a horrendous shortage. Okay, but here's the other thing. They made changes to Congested and Preferred Worlds as announced in that post, and I have said this a lot. I've said this a lot. This is the line that I say a lot now. I never thought I'd see the day. Here we are again. I never thought I'd see the day when Balmung is the preferred world. What is happening? On
no one plays on Balmung anymore.
Change to preferred world. Balmung, Brunhilde, Coral, Diablos, Goblin, saw that one coming. Malboro, Mateus, and Solera.
Goblin's never been a Congested world.
No.
Yeah, we have actually. That was back when every world was Congested.
That day.
Yeah.
But that's the entirety of the Crystal data center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Congested worlds: Adamantois, Cactuar, Fairy, Gilgamesh, Genova, Midgard's Ormer, Sargatanas, Siren.
Remember, there will be a data center visit system being implemented in the future. So, just if you're new, just pick one of them. You'll find friends.
Yeah.
Ignore your old friends. Find new friends.
At some point between now and November 19th. We don't know when, but it will happen.
Why is nothing happening to Primal?
Must be fine.
Because there aren't as many.
Do people just not care about Primal? Twitch
There aren't
streamers
as many. The problem is the majority of Twitch streamers go to Ether, which attracts their fan bases to Ether. Not as many people are on Primal, but there's also there's no fear of RP in regards to Primal that there is on.
Why
Crystal.
do people pick Ether? Oh, because it's on the top of the list because it's A. Is that why? Is that why people pick? Is Ether on the top of the list for North America? I would assume so, right? When you pick data center, there has to be a reason why they.
Maybe there was an unwritten agreement.
That's why.
They all just for somehow amalgamate onto.
This is all a
Ether.
conspiracy. The Ether conspiracy.
Ether is the rating.
Oh, is it the rating one?
As Chad is saying.
Oh, that's true.
Primal is pretty close.
Yeah, I thought Primal was a rating.
The difference between the two of them is not that great.
Oh, well.
Just
try your best to get on a server.
No changes to Europe, but I guess it's because Europe is just on fire. Both data centers. Like, it doesn't matter which one you're on.
We don't have enough servers.
No. No, we definitely don't. And remember, we have talked about that even when they added new. Remember when they added
two? Yeah, Spriggan and Louis Suar or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Spriggan and Twintania. Thank you very much.
Twintania, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't make Louis Suar feel like they're newer than that.
Here's my suggestion: reunite Chaos and Light. Just put those worlds on Chaos, and then make a new data center with the equivalent amount of worlds.
You want an extra 12 worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a semiconductor shortage.
No, that's a lie. Actually, we lied about everything. Yeah, no. That's crazy that used to be one, though.
I missed some of them.
Some of the worlds? We can still see them if you click on the...
No, but the people from them.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Good luck, Ether. And congratulations, Crystal, I guess. All right. Tales from the Twilight. So we should probably acknowledge yesterday was Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn's 8th anniversary. Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Woo! Happy birthday. I'm not going to do that. That's cool. That's 8 years, baby.
It was bang on the start of the Rising, which was very nicely timed.
Yes. It's we haven't. So disclaimer: we haven't done the event. We're not going to talk about the event today. We're not going to spoil anything. Obviously, I can't because I haven't done it. Neither can Georgi. I guess Mela can. But there was also some side stories released, and they will release for the next 4 weeks. I think once a week.
Yes, 5 total.
5?
Oh, 5. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be 5 in total. they're called Tales from the Twilight, and they are, well, I'll read the post. To commemorate the 8th anniversary of Final Fantasy XIV, we proudly present a new collection of side stories from Tales from the Twilight. Take a glimpse of pivotal moments of the lives of the game's beloved characters, beginning with our first installment, The Burden of Duty. Duty. That is Yugiri, I think. I think it's a story about Yugiri. I haven't read it yet, but
Yugiri and Hien.
It's a story about how Yugiri and Hien met.
Okay.
And there's some japes along the way, and an old friend makes a reappearance.
I wonder who that.
And they learn some great lessons.
Okay.
And it was all nice.
Good. Well,
read it yourself.
That was a more positive review than when you told us yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like Othard hugely.
Yeah, it's just it's just because it's an Othardian story. I can see that.
It's, for what it is, it's pretty decent.
So there you go. Go to the lodestone to find the link and read Tales from the Twilight. Now, we should talk about the Mana data center stress test.
Something.
Well, that was revealed during that. This is all in the same thing. So we'll start with that. The live letter 61.
6.
Live letter 66 will be on September 18th/19th, depending on your region. 19th for Europe, I think 3 a.m. BST, 4 a.m. Central European time, and that would be 10 p.m. Eastern.
Something like that.
Around that time. Which is an unfortunate time for us, because that happens to be 4 hours after this podcast ends that day. So we are most likely going... Now, we haven't planned this properly yet, but we're most likely going to move the podcast to Sunday, because it's weird to have an episode about something that's about to happen and then not be able to cover it until the next week. So
we will be approximately 1 week minus 4 hours late.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's September
We're good
18th.
journalists.
Yes. What we know of the live letter is that they're mostly going to talk about the job changes that are coming up.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's not gonna. It's not gonna be the most exciting live letter, but there isn't that much they can talk about, because they've...
Oh, you're being sarcastic. I'm actually excited about this.
No, I am not excited.
I'm not.
I am not excited. I'm never excited about job changes unless it's like...
I mean,
at least it's new, it's an expansion one, so it's new skills.
I love looking at the number changes in the patch notes every time, Lakia.
Oh, it's so awful.
Oh, it's the worst part of the show.
I like the new skills, though.
What?
No, we skip them if there's like a lot of tiny changes.
Yeah.
But also,
it'll be
new this is going to be the major changes between a patch.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. Yeah.
Or between expansions, I should say.
Yeah.
Let's see what they rip away from us this time, Nikhil.
Well, I feel like I'm... Oh, I shouldn't say anything, because I am...
No,
I'm going to curse everyone.
Don't take anything for granted.
Because everyone's going to blame me if I say anything here. Okay?
Bad's gonna happen to Black
Well,
Mage.
you didn't lose anything last time.
Oh, I hope this becomes your...
He
this
won't.
is it, Mela.
Why would he?
Now he
loves Black Mage.
What if he's secretly switched jobs? Like, he doesn't care about Black Mage anymore, and it's like, I'm going to burn it to the ground.
No, there's no way. We're going to get like 5.
Yeah.
Can they get rid of Blizzard?
Yes, Trista. Yeah.
I hope they get rid of Blizzard too.
No, they can't, because then there would be like a gap.
Yeah.
Well, make Freeze Blizzard 2.
But then what would be Blizzard 2?
Freeze!
What I am worried about...
rename it!
What I'm worried about is, obviously the healers, because there's a lot of changes coming to them. Don't touch White Mage.
No, White Mage has been through...
We've been through enough, and we finally had an expansion where it felt good to be a white mage.
I mean, Astrologians lost a lot too. So I think it's really time for Scholar
Astrologians
to
always been the
suffer.
Don't say that we haven't lost a lot. We lost a lot in the last
Yeah.
expansion,
All
mate.
right, all the healers. suck
We've been
now.
through shit, all of us. White mage started as great because it was the only healer. Well, Scholar, I'm including 1.0.
It was a pure healer.
It was a pure healer, and then in Rome Reborn we got Scholar, and I think we were still preferred because we had the superior protect.
Yes. Yeah, I think you were just generally
Then
better
we
numbers
fell from
early on.
Well,
slowly
ideally you
started
wanted
falling from
both.
grace. Yeah, you wanted both. Okay, anyways, we'll talk about that more as we will obviously likely cover it live, and we will, of course, talk about it on the podcast the following day, most likely. Okay. Now, for more specific stuff about from the Mana data center stress test, something unexpected was Yoshi-P leaked something.
The first unexpected thing was that they were doing the Mana data center stress test in this location.
Yes, that's also true. Yes. So we're talking about Cape Westwind.
Whoa.
I never thought we'd have again. I never thought I'd see the day where we'd talk about Cape Westwind as like a relevant topic. But Yoshi-P said some stuff. This is a quote. This is about 6.0 onwards, but we are planning a lot of things, and one of them is that there is a possibility that we will be changing the Cape Westwind fight in some ways. Foxclan says, "Oh." Then Yoshida says, "So it's possible that this might be the last time you can experience this fight this way." And then Foxclan goes, "LOL!" And then Yoshida says, "Yeah, we are planning a lot of changes after the 6.0 patch, and this is one of the things that might happen." And he says, "Yeah, I mean, Ritaten is supposed to be the Empire's shield. Yeah, he's a bit, you know."
I mean, he dies too fast. I think
He does
is what
die
I'm saying.
too
They're
fast.
probably going to just retune the fight so you get to see the actual fun mechanics.
I
that
mean,
they added.
there are fates at that level that are harder than Cape West.
Well,
Yeah.
There are two things that I suspect they might do. One, they'll retune the fight to be a 4-man trial, like the 3 trials before it.
Uh-huh.
Or they will reduce the level cap from 50 to 49 so that people cannot go in their level 50 unsynced gear.
Yeah.
That is fair.
That's true.
They need to sort out the scale of it because, I mean, it actually has quite a lot of mechanics. And you don't see any of them.
Yeah, you barely see
I could not
the
tell you
ones.
the last time I've seen any of those mechanics.
No.
Not a bad fight if you do it with like 4 people naked at minimum level.
Yeah. So that's exciting. Maybe I wonder what they'll do. Like, will they just buff his HP, or are they gonna? I don't know. There's a lot they can do to make it more interesting.
Might even revamp the whole mechanics.
Yeah, they could. Okay, and then there was another thing about Emet Selch. This is from.
It also has some very strong Shadowbringer spoilers.
Now sorry, it's Shadowbringer spoilers, but you should have done Shadowbringers if you're watching this podcast. Are we going to touch on this in the actual interview? I just realized it's from the same.
No, it's not from the
it's not
same
from
one.
the same. No, that's September.
The dev interviews are from FanFest.
Yeah. Okay. True. All right. The entire interview covers the other topics from Shadowbringers. This is from I believe someone translated this on the. This was a twit longer, I think, actually.
Yeah.
It was a twit longer. I don't remember who translated this though.
No.
I don't have the link.
I'll figure it out. We have the link on our Discord, so it'll be in the video description. The reason behind Emet Selch's utter disappointment in the Warrior of Light on the verge of turning into a Sin Eater. There's big lore implications in this one. So this is Yoshi-P. This is the interviewer asking, or talking, I guess. This is also one of my most favorite scenes as a player, the part right before you enter the Hades trial, where Ardbert, who offers his soul to the Warrior of Light, who's on the verge of turning into a Sin Eater after having absorbed all the light from the Light Wardens. Looking back on things, Emet Selch agreed to cooperate with the Warrior of Light on the condition that they're able to keep all the light they've absorbed in check. At the very end, Emet Selch deemed the Warrior of Light a failure, but at the moment where the Warrior of Light accepts Ardbert's soul, I would say that because of that, it should have fulfilled Emet Selch's negotiation. Would you please tell us more about this? Yoshi-P says, I think at this point, my interpretation might be a little different. First of all, Emet Selch, to begin with, is a true human, unsundered. Because of that, one such being would have no problems controlling that amount of light. Rather, it's a given that they'd have an easy time manipulating it. At least this is my interpretation. And so the fragmented beings he speaks of and the true human have a relatively big difference in power. He would say, you've only but taken in the light of 5 to 6 Light Wardens, and you're going to turn into one at the end of it? And because of that, that's the reason why he became disappointed. It's a bit difficult to convey in terms of nuance, but if you look at things from Emet Selch's perspective, who knows exactly how the original state of a soul should be, no matter how many times asunder a soul becomes, it should have no problems taking on the Light Warden's light. After all, he thinks that the Warrior of Light is indeed a Zem, or someone who resembles a Zem, and so at the end, with his disappointment in the end, the Warrior of Light is but a fragmented being. So he deemed the Warrior of Light a failure. And that is the result of his judgment and observations. Since the Warrior of Light is indeed a fragmented body of souls, if the event where they can control all the light they've absorbed, then there will be a need to reevaluate the current mankind. And that's his way of thinking. He also had seen the process of their journey in person, to join hands with others, to go on and resolve problems. Amongst this, he thought that maybe the solution to everything might be in there, and especially the very fact that the Warrior of Light's soul resembled someone he knew all too well, and in a way, loved even. And so that's how he became disappointed, from the very bottom of his heart. These are Emet Selch's true feelings. And that would mean the moment after that, when the Warrior of Light's soul had fused, Yoshi-P, that's the interviewer saying that, Yoshi-P then responds, for that bit, my interpretation is a little different from yours, but that doesn't mean it's strictly correct.
He would have used this contraction, by the way.
A little different from yours. But that doesn't mean it's strictly correct. What truly is correct is what you feel coming out from it all. And so this is really just my interpretation. It is true that the Warrior of Light had one part restored when they fused with Ardbert. And with that, the Warrior of Light is one step closer towards the strength of a true human. After all, at that point, they had the light under control. But I would like to bring your attention to Y'shtola's lines after clearing the Hades trial. She mentioned how tattered the Warrior of Light's ether was from the rampaging light that it was as though the darkness had completely eliminated it all. Now that you've mentioned it, says the interviewer, Hades is Yoshi-P. Hades is a true human who fought with his all against the one who wants to save the world, clashing all of his darkness against them. In opposition, the Warrior of Light fought back with all the strength of the light, vanquishing large amounts of it in the process. This was also conveyed in Hades' lines during the trial, and as well as after clearing it, in the cutscene where light and dark clashed at each other. As a result, perhaps the light and dark residing inside of the Warrior of Light had reached an equilibrium, meaning Emet Selch had reached a certain conclusion. So I'd like you to take another look at those scenes, and perhaps you may reach a different interpretation. But of course, I can't say that this is the answer. There it is.
Can I say I don't want true human to be a term that catches on in the English-speaking community?
No.
Just reminds me of True Ogre from Tekken.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting interpretation. I mean, I feel like it's Yoshi-P saying it, so, and he knows more about stuff than we do, I feel like. But
it's weird that he phrases it in kind of a death of the author kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is just my interpretation, but don't Don't think about the fact that I contributed greatly to the making of this story.
It's an interesting. I don't want to say. I mean, we have to say theory because he's saying this is his interpretation, but it's weird saying that when it's coming from the producer and director of the game.
Yeah. And we have talked about the lines of dialogue that happened during the Hades trial. Like, he does specifically, I think, call out the light of the warden when talking about us.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it feels fairly already trodden ground now. I mean,
Yeah,
you know
that's
he's
true.
disappointed because we didn't meet his expectations of being able to hold it all, and so he goes on to complete his plan in the way he wants to.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have it touched on in a bit further detail, I guess.
Yeah.
Why, as the warrior of light, as the largest warrior of light, why do we not simply go to the other shards and consume the other warriors of light?
Well, that's an interesting thought, Yuri, because also when there's a calamity and one of the other shards joins the source, you'd think that all the souls of the people on there would join their souls on the source as well. But it also is it's so damaging that loads of people die as well.
Yeah.
So, calamities are a bit of a weird concept in terms of us.
Yeah, so that's why we only take one of them.
So you want us to just shard hop to just grab all of our last bits?
Honestly, it was just a Ross is the largest friend joke. But it was also a genuine theory.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think our character would ever do that.
No. No, definitely not.
I mean, I'd like to know how our other versions are getting on.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do not wish to go to another shard until we finish exploring this world, please.
No. The
Enough
shard hopping was
hopping.
already weird.
Okay.
The only shard I'm interested in right now, other than ours, is the Void.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. Okay. That's the stuff from the Mana data center stress test stuff.
Well, that part.
Well,
is
that
from
was
the-
that
from
was
this
actually
interview.
from the interview. Sorry. Now on to the interviews with the dev team.
I found
Yeah.
the Twitter user is Nash0K1des.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Thanks,
Thank
Nash.
you.
For the translation.
Thank you for the translation.
Our voice self
Assumedly a
might have
full-
come anyway.
Yeah.
It could be whatever his name is.
I mean, I still have the theory that the Void sent for the Reaper that joins us for the Reaper is our soul from that shard.
That could be true too.
Could be. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So here's some interviews with the dev team. This is post FanFest.
Fanfest?
So it's a little, it's a little old. It's a wee bit old, but we haven't covered this interview. So
And it took a while for them to translate all of it.
yes,
because
this is
it's
by
quite
Akh
long,
Morning.
actually.
You should check
A
out
lot
Akh
of different
Morning.
people.
Their website is very nice. That's all. I have
It's
to
very
say.
nice, but it's difficult to work with our show notes.
that is not a real complaint. That is just because we want to be lazy and copy paste. That is
Yeah, your formatting's really easy to read, but a lot of it's stuff we can't copy out.
Yeah. May I? Okay, so this is we'll start off with Banri Oda, who is of course the lead story designer.
Good lad.
We read an interview with him a couple of weeks ago. I love every interview with him is very interesting. So let's jump into this. May I know your thoughts on? May I know your thoughts now that the stage events are over? And are there any messages you'd like to deliver to the players? Banri Oda says, I was really nervous since I attended the How Do You Like Heidelin segment sounding very exhausted. I apologize for acting that way. Even so, I personally enjoyed the segment too. Although I couldn't interact with my fans directly, I'm very happy that we still have a chance to host a digital FanFest in the coming 2 days. Oh, this is before FanFest.
Oh,
Wow. Way to date the interview, Banri Oda.
yeah.
As mentioned in the opening ceremony, you're currently holding the position of the lead story designer this time. What does this mean to the changes surrounding you? And we would like to hear from you about your current role. Banri Oda says, in fact, I haven't changed at all. There was a conversation on what to do about my role a few days ago. few years ago. And the whole thing has dragged on and on until today. Something like that. There wasn't any special location nor timing that triggered such changes to begin with. So you continue to be in charge of the story as well as the lore setting in general. That is correct. I'd like to think it's difficult for us mere mortals to imagine how hard it is being a lore designer and to create a story. But what inspires you? We've touched on this before. Also, it may be difficult for you to answer this question, but what were your influences and which aspect did you pay extra attention to when creating the world of Endwalker? Oda says, my previous job was actually as an editor, so it's not that I've done anything particularly special in order to land a job in storytelling. I've always loved reading, so I spent a lot of time reading books as well as playing games, and have touched on many stories since I was a kid. I feel that I have been given feedback from those experiences, and thanks to that, I've been using the most of it today. Regarding the story and lore, it is currently difficult to tell you at this stage, such as having to refer to this and that which you read in the past, so please bear with me on that. However, looking at the project that I have been working on for almost 10 years, it seems as if I'm reaching a milestone in terms of the storyline this time. Because of this, I feel the responsibility in delivering a solid product. This is like reaching
Almost
the
10
end
years.
of...
This now actually is 10 years.
It is.
Oh, no. Next month is 10 years.
Oh, yes, September 30th.
Mm.
Yeah, this is like reaching the end of the book. Like, he is about to wrap up the ending, so gotta stick the landing, Oda.
This is like he's George R.R. Martin, but he's actually writing the last 2 books.
Yes. God, we shit on him so much in this show. Okay. Previously on the stage program, you talked about the setting of Sharlayan in detail. I assume the lore is already created prior to the release of Heavensward, so I want to know if you and your team have already started by including elements that were already established during that time in preparation for this expansion. Oda says, as mentioned by Naoki Yoshida, producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV, the legacy version of Final Fantasy XIV initially wanted the players to start their adventure by selecting one of the 6 cities. 6. Limsa Lamesa, Ul'dah, Gridania, Ishgard, Alamigo, Old Sharlayan. This meant that the setting...
Still an absurd piece of information.
It is. It really
so much
is.
cooler.
Yeah.
It is very cool, but I cannot imagine how they would have pulled that off considering what 1.0 was.
No,
yeah,
it's a shame.
like 6 city-states, all with their own MSQ. Ugh,
They only needed like the 1 to 15, and then it brings you into the main
That's
story.
not how 1.0 worked, Mela.
No, but if it was a modern Final Fantasy, it could work in this game. It just didn't.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true.
They didn't have the time.
They didn't have time. Remember, they made A Realm Reborn in 2 years.
Mm.
That's crazy for an MMORPG.
Mm-hmm. I mean, these cities didn't even exist in 1.0, so they didn't have a base to work with.
Well,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, he says Old Sharlayan. It was called Sharlayan in 1.0. That was Sharlayan. This meant that the setting of accumulating what you've learned in the City of Knowledge already existed way before I joined the development team. However, we hadn't had the chance to convey more on this aspect to our players. So even though it was in a state of ruin, I thought it would be neat for players to at least feel the characteristics of the message in it. Hence, I had the city make its appearance and have it located at the Dravanian hinterlands during Heavensward, and that at least brought a portion of its settings to light. Now that Old Sharlayan City is going to be accessible, I'm looking forward to seeing players learning more about it through the settings I've been thinking about and working on. Yeah. Well, what I meant...
Impossible.
What I meant about
Sharlayan.
Sharlayan being Sharlayan, I mean, Sharlayan is Old Sharlayan. Was Old Sharlayan.
Yeah.
There was
it was only known
one
as Sharlayan.
Okay.
Because even though technically they'd already crossed over in that time period, they hadn't because it hadn't been written.
Right, yes. Okay. So that is the Banri Oda section. Yoshiki Takanashi, lead background artist of Final Fantasy XIV. This is the person who's behind the background, abbreviated as BG, of Eorzea, working to realize the visuals of the world and the atmosphere for this expansion. Also responsible for the background designs of the towns and raid dungeons for the previous expansions. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? Okay. Let's have Takanashi-san deliver a message to our players. There was certainly a point where I wondered if we should host FanFest under the current circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Fair.
Yes. However, considering I had experience of being in direct contact with the players themselves during the previous FanFest, being able to experience the passion of all Final Fantasy XIV players is something huge to me. So even if the format changes, the thought of wanting to host the event digitally is something I really thought should happen. So I personally am really happy about it. Yeah. In today's keynote speech, we were shown various new areas introduced as a walkthrough for Endwalker. Looking at it, it feels as if the characteristics of each area look completely different than before. I think this is one of the highlights of the expansion, so would you please tell us about the difficulties and struggles you've faced during development and what aspects you found fresh? He says, as you mentioned here, each of the fields shown this time are full of unique elements here. So on that part, I'd like to make it so that players can enjoy them more deeply. Yeah. I mean, working on the... So he makes...
He makes like background assets rather than the main stage.
So yeah, so he doesn't design like the actual map. He designs the stuff that's in the background. What does that mean? In a fully 3D game?
Well, I think like, let's say you've got the dungeon path or something, and he might design like the stuff that's outside of the area.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Everything beyond the boundaries of the dungeon map.
Okay, I see. All right.
I just feel like the one thing that the Endwalker trailer really showcased was the issue they have with colors, especially in Thavnair.
Yeah. Thavnair looks interesting.
Very unique colors.
Yeah. I had the impression that many of the colors are unique, Famitsu says.
Which is an interesting thing to say about color in general.
Yes. Unique
Something
colors.
we're very confident about that doesn't have many unique varieties anymore.
This was the case with Shadowbringers as well, but I managed to have each of their characteristics stand out even more this time. Bringing out the individuality.
Each of the colors?
Yeah. Yeah. Bringing out the individuality of each out proved to be Of each proved to be quite a difficult task here, but I'm having fun creating them.
What does that mean?
I think he's talking about the backgrounds, not the colors. I think that
Okay.
was just my initial interpretation.
Yeah. Famitsu says, Old Sharlayan is a city that has its idea formulated since the legacy version of 14, but is the city structure and its design created with arrangements done to the existing setting, or did you start from scratch during the development of Endwalker? As mentioned by Oda just now, the setting already existed, so I've worked alongside Oda and Ishikawa, refers to Natsuki Ishikawa, the lead story designer, together to examine further and create a new layout for the city. Considering there's no nature whatsoever on the setting of the moon, I have that impression that it's difficult to express yourself. So what do you think? What do you think about it? That's correct. That's exactly why I'm struggling with it right now. Laughs bitterly.
Did he just ask, what's your impression of the moon?
Yeah. Are you still in the process of making adjustments? Yes, the ones you witnessed today are still currently in the development stage. From now on, it's all about working diligently with our development staff members to brush up on the details. I really am struggling right now with Mare Lamentorium, like how I have to refer to the videos about the universe along with the assigned staff members working on it. Considering there weren't any cutscene appearances of space as the background in 14, that part is especially impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we've had a few trials that take place in space.
We've had space in the background before.
Maybe depends. Well, yeah, when we're flying through the void as well and stuff.
I mean, the final part of Amarot is in space.
Yeah. And Omega is just all about space.
It's a strange thing to say.
Yeah.
Maybe he meant in CG cutscenes.
Or maybe he means
CG?
literally?
Well, maybe he's talking about the CG. Does he do... Well, that's at a completely different department that works on that.
I mean, this is the first time we're actually going to space.
Yeah,
times in the past are all like illusions.
But there have been cutscenes on... Like, remember when the Asians were standing on the moon, Elidibus on the moon?
Oh, yeah. Well, you've already seen
but they were about as featureless as when they showed us those dragons on Mericidia.
True. That's
Yeah.
true. Okay.
Gosh.
This is Shinya Ichida. Ichida. I don't know who this. I don't think I've heard this name before. It's a lead artist. Just lead artist. Of 14, involved in a wide variety of visual aspects of the game, such as the selection of red mage weapons, as well as the direction of Samurai's limit break when activated, and much more. That's quite a wide range.
Lead artist is a big thing on the MMO.
It is a wide range, but it's also an interesting two aspects of his job to highlight.
Yes. Yes. What is your enthusiasm for the release of Endwalker, as well as your message to all 14 players? That is such a question. What is your enthusiasm? Okay.
Well, Herbert.
Describe it.
Ichida says, in Endwalker, we'll see the conclusion to the Hydaelyn conclusion to the Hydaelyn Zodiac arc. With my time in the development of 14 reaching almost 10 years here, it's like I myself have been walking alongside this epic story. I personally feel very attached to it as we're welcoming the end of an era. With how Ishikawa-san went all her way to create such a wonderful story, I would like to express the same properly in VFX as well. As I've always mentioned, I want to make sure all players can enjoy the game with sceneries and experiences never felt before. Okay.
Fair.
Yeah. We saw a variety of visuals shown on the keynote earlier. I know as a lead artist you are involved in a wide range of tasks here, but is there any particular point that you would like us to focus on? Ichida says, basically, I'm putting all of my energy into everything here. Into everything. Like, this man has a lot to do, and he's pouring all of his energy into everything. And from my point of view, I have the desire of wanting all players to see everything. For the upcoming new race, we've been preparing little by little in order to deliver our big surprise. But with the involvement of both the art and character team, it ended up as a huge cost in our production. By preparing...
That's interesting, because this is taking place before all the reveals.
Yeah.
No, this is after the first day.
This is after... Yeah, the keynote has happened, so they've already revealed.
Sorry, of course,
By preparing ourselves, starting from the creation of our development team structure at the beginning, we've finally managed to make the announcement on time. So first, we hope all players will be able to get a feel and have fun with the new races. And that new race would be the male Viera. Yes, that's correct. Thank you. That is a useful question. I'd like to take the chance and ask, where did you focus efforts in creating the male Viera?
Well, the male bits, I guess.
The male bits. Yes. Ichida says, while creating a male character form that has never been seen before. I fucked that up. I'll start over. While creating a male character form that has never... There is a bean that's missing.
Yeah, there's a bean that's missing, yeah.
I thought I was... okay. That has never been seen before. We went through a trial and error process in order to create a mature, yet somewhat neutral atmosphere. We had several discussions with the staff members about the character details all the way, ranging from the modeling of their faces to the way they stand while in motion. The way they stand while in motion.
The way they move. Their gait, I think, really is what he's saying.
Okay.
I imagine they just had a few options, really.
A mature yet somewhat neutral atmosphere.
They have to be careful because they're essentially creating the male form of a very popular race moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. They're essentially writing Evil's law.
Yes.
So this is it's wider reaching than.
I mean, this was made in consultation with Warhead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's happy with it.
Probably his last contribution to 14, I would say.
Fingers crossed.
Probably.
That's
Fingers crossed that it is or that it isn't. Because I hope that it isn't.
As much
he's very good at the story stuff and whatever. It's just he.
But he is
just
a drunk.
The wine. It's the drinking.
Yeah.
He is a drunk. Yes.
Yeah. Previously, Ichida-san, you were involved in the selection of weapons for Red Mage, so I'd assume you would be involved in the selection of weapons for Sage Nulliths as well. That would be correct.
He
good
didn't
answer.
say a lot.
I would like to know the decision flow behind the weapons of new jobs. For example, why is the Sage weapon named Nuliths, and how did it come about? First, on the topic of two-handed scythes...
He ignores it completely.
Yeah. On the topic of two-handed scythes wielded by Reaper, the concept is to provide the design team a wide range of options as possible so that the art team can flexibly come up with various designs in the future. For example, in terms of character, he's just soldiering through this. It's like,
doing a Yoshi-P.
yeah. In terms of character actions, we made sure that there would be no problems for the character to swing such a lengthy weapon. Reapers can also possess avatars that can be summoned from the void. I love this because he's doing the technique where he just gives a really long answer to use up all the interviewer's time so they can't ask more questions. When the avatar fuses with the Reaper, the design switches into a new one, and so we've invested our effort into creating the mechanics of the job.
Okay. Thanks, Shinya. Completely ignored his question because you don't know what a Nulith is.
All right. Takanobu
Miyazawa.
Takanobu.
I mean, this guy.
He's the lead.
If Shinya
animator.
didn't get any, he's already an unknown, and yet he does such a huge role. This guy, animation.
Lead.
Is like,
I feel like I've seen this man before.
Yeah, I feel like he's someone who popped up during one of the 14-hour streams at some point. Maybe even a fan fest, but he's one of the members who knows what goes on behind the scenes of raid development. He's also he's mainly in charge of animation related to battle content as well as monsters. So, yeah.
He reskins monsters.
I'm just going to skip their thoughts about when they're on stage.
He doesn't make new animations anymore.
After watching the development panel held earlier, I was impressed at the hard work that went into it, especially the part where you described Omega M and F liquefying. Oh, he led the panel that we didn't cover. Liquefying and how it was animated felt really ingenious here. But could you tell us about some of the most difficult things you've worked on thus far? The Omega segment that I've shared today was indeed one of the most difficult projects I've ever been involved in. We would usually work on new expressions whenever we're creating new raid content each time, so this is something we've always poured our best efforts into. What are the main points of interest in Endwalker, and what are the new areas that you've focused on? The new Reaper job that was announced today will allow you to enjoy new ways to play and feeling unseen in 14 before. So I want players to look forward to that first. And that's the end.
What is this?
So the impression I get is that they were very much told to stay on message. Yeah. Today, we announced the Reaper.
Yeah.
Back in March was when we announced Sage. Talk about Reaper today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had your chance.
Okay, Masaki Nakagawa, Mr. Ozma.
I like Mr. Ozma.
Lead battle content designer. Okay, I'm going to skip the first part. Knowing that Nakagawa-san will be overseeing the overall battle aspects of the game with the content that will be implemented in Endwalker, what are the ones that you are mainly involved in? Since I'm the leader of the battle content team here, I don't think there's anything that will make me go, this one. In other words, it would be everything. That's the answer. Okay. Cool. You'll be involved in not only Pandemonium. Oh God, I must say this again. The use of the letter A literally cannot be overridden in my mind. You have to know every time I read Pandemonium, my brain is screaming because I want to read Pandemonium, because it's an A.
A and E being together is very much used in Old English as well, and it's something that you see in a lot of old books too.
It's used in current Norwegian though, so it's very difficult.
It's like a pan.
I know. It's just difficult for me. It's like when all artists, when they want to be artsy, they put like a slash through the O, and I'm like, that's an that's an that doesn't say sound, that says sound. That's very annoying.
Sound.
Okay. So you'll be involved in not only Pandemonium, but also the earlier announced Myths of the Realm. And I take that it would be too early to ask you anything regarding the content from the looks of it. I'm involved in everything regarding the raid tier. That's right. I don't think I'll be able to answer you just yet. And he laughs.
Go on one teaser.
With the release of patch 5.5 part 2, this marks the release of all for Shadowbringers. Looking back, what are the most memorable parts of the game? I have lots of memories that I have lots of memories made throughout working on the 5.x series battles. When it comes to recent content, it'll be Eden's Promise. In Eden's Promise, which follows Eden's Gate and Eden's Verse, we changed the battle structure on the 4th floor, adjusting the hitboxes to make it bigger, and various other refinements we've made resulted in a high-quality raid tier. I thought, wow, I finally completed it, and thus Eden's Promise became the content that really left an impression on me. Also regarding quest battles, I've managed to try various new things so much that it's incomparable to what I did back during the 4.x series. So when it comes to memories that make me go, this was easy or this was well done, I definitely have several in mind.
He can definitely pat himself on the back for the quest battle, like solo instances from this series,
Yeah.
especially all the roleplay stuff and everything. It's been a marked increase in quality.
Yeah.
Year on year. Well, less so about Eden's Promise. I wasn't a big fan of most of the.
I wasn't a huge fan of Eden's Promise. I think Eden's Verse is the best part of the raid series. This expansion.
Yeah. Okay. Nakagawa Daisuke, which is the battle content designer. And Nakagawa is the lead battle designer? Oh yeah, he's the lead battle content designer.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
This guy's just a lad.
Okay. All right, let's see. Watching the development panel held earlier, I believe there were many player comments about the Red Comet, an apex red chocobo seen in the Bosnian Southern Front. So I would like to know the reason behind the high difficulty of the critical engagement and so forth. So I want to know if you have any behind-the-scenes stories to share on this. He says, I thought it would make sense if I made them this strong, and then he laughs. The red chocobo is seen as some sort of optional boss in Final Fantasy Tactics. If I made them be defeated easily, it would create discussions about how is this really the red chocobo? So we adjusted the balance with prior approval to make it in its current state.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Tactics, so I didn't know that it was their super boss, red chocobo. But yes, cool.
Yeah, and definitely it worked. Now when we see a red chocobo, we automatically expect death. In today's panel, I'm convinced that Nakagawa-san places the importance on story very seriously, and it shows. It's no wonder you paid attention to the chocobos considering its history. That's right. You can tell that some of these are not quite trained in the art of being interviewed. Because you shouldn't just give an answer like, that's right, or yes. From the development
I'd love
panel.
to be interviewed.
Though, to be fair, that's kind of on the interviewer, because it's the interviewer's job to lure the answers out of them.
Yeah, that's true.
From the development panel shown today, I noticed that the Cloud Deck is listed as one of the content you worked on. When I played the actual trial, I realized that the boss movements are something you don't really see in previous trials, and I thought it was really interesting content to play. So I want to know what points you took special notes on when developing this content. When it comes to the capture of Diamond Weapon, the keywords will be to shake off the mechanics. It's content I've been wanting to do, and I'm glad that I followed through. Laughs. The recent extreme trials have been extremely cost-intensive, so such an environment allowed me to try all sorts of new things never attempted before. The thought of considering how content would require such an amount of cost, let's utilize that and create a brand new experience, was what made creating the Cloud Deck possible.
Not sure why it's about cost, but fine. I liked that fight, but it was a little easy. It was very mechanically interesting.
It also didn't have like a spectacular second phase, which I expected.
It definitely should have. But I liked the sort of platform switching.
Yeah, it was a cool mechanic. Yeah. With the abundance of cost present, did you then think of the dynamic flow of having both G-Warrior units 1 and 2 move around the skies while fighting? That's right. It was rather quick of me to come up with the idea of that form. It didn't take me long to complete the model.
I mean, it's just a G-Warrior with a giant platform on its back.
Yeah.
Well, it was rather quick of him, though.
Yeah, it was rather quick. The development panel held earlier was something we've paid great interest to, and it was very interesting. To what extent do you solidify your personal ideas and then work together with the others to give them shape? Is something I'd like to know. So can you tell us how you go about this? Why were there ellipses at what was the why
I don't know.
why did it go
The
dot
interviewer
dot
was just thinking,
Yeah.
this is that what I'd like to? Yeah, that is.
And then after that, they not only said that, or had that happen, they took notes of that happening, and then in the final edit, they're like, I'll put that in. I'll put that into the interview. And then
Maybe
the
they omitted
translators
something.
were like, oh, that's in there. That's odd. We'll put that in. At every point of the creation of this article, this was decided. We'll keep this in. Since I'm entrusted to do a lot of work here, I tend to solidify those ideas within me during the early stages on a certain level. Then I would ask Nakagawa, who is the leader of the project, if I wanted someone's opinion on the matter. I have this idea in mind, so what do you think? And so on. However, there are many tasks which require me to work with our junior staff members rather than working alone.
Oh.
So it is not always the case that the other designers follow the same working process.
Child labor.
That's not what junior necessarily
not
means.
that kind of junior.
I'm going to assume the term that was used in original Japanese was kohai, not child.
I do imagine that. They he's
No, we had to get to the nursery and
and there's like little children with like propeller hats, the ones just running around. All right. Next is Arata Takahashi, lead level designer, worked on various areas, belongs to the so-called level design team.
Cold?
Yeah.
Cold.
So cold. Yeah. They don't take him very seriously, but he's like, oh, hey, why don't you go back to your level design team? As we're looking at more new information revealed today for Endwalker, we would like you to deliver a message to the players. No, I'm supposed to skip these. We don't care. I'm sorry. From the producer letter live that was held just now, there was a note stating the roadmap when having Gold Saucer or other seasonal related events. I'd like to know what kind of things we can look forward to when it comes to level design. Even a little hint would be appreciated. Takahashi says, actually, since we always begin our planning aspects with a tight schedule, we don't always make big plans for the events beforehand, so it feels like we need to start working on the events you just mentioned earlier. Laughs bitterly. I apologize.
Type of laughter.
I apologize for not being able to provide you with a detailed answer. As for events, the Moonfire Fair will begin soon, so I would like you to look forward to that event. We have looked forward to it. It did happen, and now it's over.
Yeah.
So we can, in many ways, expect to see future developments of Manderville Gold Saucer in-game, I take it. The aspect of that area... What?
When?
Yeah, right.
Please, more gates and stuff. Come on, lads.
I hope you enjoy Reaper, which is this new class.
We got... The most recent thing we got was open tournaments.
Yeah, which are really
which
good.
Was last patch, 4.5.4, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not like a new game.
Ever.
It's just a good way of getting into matchmaking, really.
Yeah. The aspect of that area is different from the others. So we are the room to tackle the content here. So I don't think we want to add more gameplay elements for that area in the future. I don't know what that sentence means, but I just read it. I just read it as it was. So we are the room to tackle the content.
We have the room.
We have the room to tackle the content here. So I do think we want to add more gameplay elements for that area in the future. Personally, I do find Gold Saucer to be a place where it's worth taking the challenge on. But currently, we're full of hands working on Endwalker right now. So... I'm sorry, we're full of hands right now. Okay, I do want to think of new and interesting mini games once more after we're done with the next expansion.
We've given you ideas. Make those.
Yeah. Okay.
See what working from home does to them.
That's
full of hands.
That's Arata Takahashi. Next is Masato Shida, who's the background artist. Oh, another background artist.
One.
Mainly worked on environment and area design, including the Black Shroud and Ishgard. Hope not 1.0 is Black Shroud, along with other regions. Let's hear your... No, let's not.
No.
You
Oh my
Well, he
god!
wrote a lot,
he
then.
had a lot, but I don't care. You mentioned the overall eccentricness of the field, but since Endwalker, which is its main theme, is to illustrate the repeat of its final days, which take place not in the first, but on the source. I would like to know your ideas or story on how that unique atmosphere is portrayed in the world that is linked to Eorzea. Maybe I should have read the first one because this is literally
I know, he's only
his
got two
questions.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I think he actually ends. That's why he doesn't have many questions, because he knows what he has to say.
Okay, let me just read the
Yeah.
answer to the
He's done
question
the
I just
Reaper
read.
spiel.
We thought of
Yeah.
changing that impression itself in a major way. Regarding the maps, we are thinking of creating them in a way that brings the impression of a strong picture. So we are planning to create an environment where players can feel the atmosphere that doesn't feel lacking than on the previous maps we've created. When the Warriors of Light step into new maps, they'd feel, wow, this is different from the others, and that's what we're aiming to create here.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
When I first went into Ilmag, I did say to myself out loud, "This is a strong picture."
Yes. Definitely. Same. All right. As announced by Yoshida, this is his words to the players. It seems we're going to the moon with this expansion. There are also underground cities, Amazon forests, and some mysterious floating islands, which we showed the artwork of earlier. So I do think there are various maps that display strong characteristics.
Amazon forest.
Yeah, we're going to the Amazons.
Is
What's
he trying
in
to
that?
say that parts of Thavnir look like the Amazon forest?
Or is he spoiling that we're going to like that place at the south of Othard?
Golmore Jungle?
Yeah,
Ooh, maybe.
because that is a bit like the Amazon.
I thought it'd be a weird final zone to announce. We've already got 5.
Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna get 7.
Maybe there are parts of some of the existing zones that we haven't seen. It could be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be some parts that we haven't seen. When I first saw the plan, I thought and felt, wow, looks like there's going to be a lot of maps that look really intense.
It's a strong picture.
It's a strong picture. In Shadowbringers, the atmosphere was mainly eccentric due to the nature of its weather.
Eccentric?
But this time, the maps itself are all overall, they're all overall eccentric. So in order to bring out that...
Unfair.
I feel like I'm having a stroke. So in order to bring out that flavor, we're definitely looking to create powerful pictures.
You said it.
To create powerful pictures out of this. Woo! There you go. I'm gonna think about that when I see the new maps now. I'm gonna think about that. This is a powerful picture. Oh God! As we keep selling more and more expansions, we do our best to create and deliver maps that feel refreshing. So the difficulty of development itself ends up getting higher as we go on. Currently, the background team is doing their best to create them, and we always have the best interest of players in mind to deliver new fields that are once more different than what they've experienced in Shadowbringers. As with the fields, there are also plenty of spectacular-looking dungeons, so please look forward to that.
I'm still confused as to what the background team does then.
It's a little vague.
But oh well.
Yeah. Okay, next is Yosuke Hayashi.
He's a nice
He's
chap.
the lead item designer.
He talks about the removal of belts.
Primarily works on item production. He also works on the management of collaborations or any new ideas. If you have
Anything.
any new ideas, you go to Yosuke Hayashi. So
You might want to read his first part, actually.
Hi, I'm Hayashi, the item designer of this game. Pleased to meet all of you. Although it's not easy to talk about Endwalker without spoiling anything, various items get added and changed each time whenever a new expansion gets released. This time, the changes to the system began by removing belts from the game.
began with.
Yeah. This is an important...
First thing of consideration.
What if we one day just have one slot? It's just gear.
Yeah.
This
Good
is
luck glamoring.
Yeah, oh god. But then you'll just open a new menu and that's where it all is.
Oh,
Yeah, it's its own system.
still 400 out of 400.
Yeah. This is an improvement made not only for the existing players who are currently enjoying the game, but also for new players who will be joining the game in the future. I want to do my best to provide enjoyment to the players on aspects other than the scenario and battle as well. Okay.
Thank you.
During the producer
I
live
think
letter...
you're going to like this next one.
During the production,
no.
during the producer live letter earlier, there was an announcement of the collaboration between Fender and 14, I guess. May I know who was the one that was involved in the musical instrument aspects, like the electric guitar? Oh my god! Cue the shot of Ilbert at the end of the 2.55 thing when he talks to Raban. It was me. Although it was, he even laughs at the end. Although it was explained in the producer live earlier, this one electric guitar can output various sounds and works differently from other instruments. In order to realize this, we've prepared several tones for an electric guitar in advance and made the tone switchable in between when performing. Unlike in the past, where we ensured the piano tone fits the sound played from a piano, or violin tone that fits the sound played from a violin. Okay, yeah. Oh my god, you're right. That's literally the scene. Ilbert there. That's when he says it. Previously, in order to switch from one instrument into another, like, say, from flute to piano, you had to stop performing in flute and then switch into piano. But in order to avoid providing too much information here, with guitar, you'll be able to switch from guitar 1 to guitar 2, or guitar 2 to guitar 3, or even guitar 3 to guitar 1 seamlessly without having to stop in between. This is where we paid particular attention here.
Man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like imagining ourselves being able to control the effects pedal with our feet and switch the tone. That's right. In the game, you don't use your feet to control it, but we've managed to create a similar situation where you can switch around freely. While the insufficient amount of buttons available on a gamepad makes it a little hard here, we still managed to make it work somehow with the help of Odagiri, who appeared on the stage today. All right, the next two are, of course, the most exciting, I think. Well, they're all exciting. My favorite is, of course, the guy with the powerful pictures.
Oh.
So Ishikawa, so Natsuko Ishikawa, and Saki Takayanagi. So Ishikawa needs no introduction, lead story designer. And Takaya, oh my god, her name is too difficult for me. Takayanagi is the quest designer. Worked mainly on human NPCs and its coordination, as well as quest implementations.
I believe she's the one that dresses all the NPCs.
Oh,
as in chooses what gear they wear.
Right. Okay.
She didn't design them.
No, that's the sweet one.
That's the Mae.
Yeah. May I know your thoughts after? No, you may not. Okay. Nope. Okay, let's hear from Ishikawa-san about her thoughts about the scenario. If there is any, since we're heading to the conclusion of the Hydaelyn Zodiac arc in the main scenario for Endwalker. It's really dense in volume, so I'm having doubts on whether I can finish them and meet the schedule deadline, so I'm working hard here to make sure it's delivered on time. We can actually make it work if we wanted to actually prolong the story of Hydaelyn... of the Hydaelyn Zodiac arc. And there's definitely a lot more places to explore in Eorzea, the world players first started their journey.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done, Ishikawa.
That's what we want.
And she's specifying Eorzea rather than occasionally when they use Eorzea to refer to the whole world.
Yeah. I personally am fine with ending the story at around patch 7.0 or 8.0, but I believe the decision to end the story precisely at this timing must have brought out the sense of speed as well, and I hope that with this decision, it will allow us to to be able to properly grasp on what kind of story Final Fantasy XIV can provide to our players, considering the fact that this expansion will be released in 2021.
What's she mean about ending the story at 7.0 or 8.0?
She would have been
Is
okay
that-
with ending it in 7.0.
Oh, that's fine, yeah. So
As
she'd have
in,
been
like,
happy to stretch out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I believe Takayanagi-san is assigned to adjust the identity of character, but I'd like to know if you have any peculiar stories behind your job. Ishikawa says, generally, the adjustments on the main character are mainly under Takayanagi's lead, and during Shadowbringers, she had a hand in the minor adjustments for that department. Takayanagi says, the one that was adjusted in Shadowbringers that I worked on would be Thancred. I suggested to Ishikawa that perhaps we should change this part to make it better, and with that, we settled on the form we see today. And that's what I remember the most. So when it comes to main NPCs, that was one of the examples. As for the others, I recall receiving an order on having Elysian Knights to appear halfway through Grand Cosmos, the dungeon that was released in patch 5.1. When I got the order, I discussed with Oda, Banri Oda, lead story designer, and worked on coordinating them to look like certain NPCs. As for the identity of those NPCs, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this. Ishikawa says, sure, go ahead. Takanagi says, to those who may already realize this, the NPCs used to be the Knights of the Heavensward that appeared in Heavensward. After asking and confirming with Oda on using characters that pay homage to these figures in her terms, God. You know, old speakers lore, I had a friend that said homage, and every time I read the word, it breaks me. Homage to these figures in terms of their faces and equipment. We then reached the decision to reintroduce them for this instance dungeon.
Has anyone
That's
pointed this out?
interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like
so.
someone should have
Well,
noticed it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Although I assume she means elven knights, not Elysian knights.
On Monbrida, Takiyanagi-san once mentioned there's thought of wanting her to wear this costume before. Are there any same thoughts on other NPCs that may no longer have the chance to appear in the future, like Monbrida? Takiyanagi.
No longer have the chance to appear in the future because they're dead.
Well, it's no longer got the chance.
Takiyanagi says, on the feelings of wanting to dress them in this various or particular costume that fits everyone. Yeah, of course, I do have them. Actually, on characters that sadly have to bow down from the stage halfway, I did pull something.
Interesting way of saying die.
Yeah, I did pull something.
It's a TV series.
True. I did pull something that repeatedly bring them back secretly and let them change their clothes for a little while using my work tools there. Laughs. As for the others, for example, the commoners from Gridania or Ul'dah, I've been having a lot of fun with the nameless NPCs that I've placed as so-called entertainment by letting them wear new costumes and thinking they would look great in this outfit without the knowledge of anyone.
Is that what she does on her lunch break?
Also, since the staff members of the Goldsmith Guild are still wearing their very first artifact gear, I always have the feeling where they would look good in their artifact 4 gear. When I looked at the Guildmaster Serendipity, I thought, really, the new class-specific equipment would look so good on her. Laughs. She's having a great time in this interview. So in this sense, I do want to swap their costumes and let them all wear the new class-specific equipment.
That would be cool if they could make it like quest trigger, so they're in the Aram Reborn one if you're still new, but they update. Because it's weird seeing them all in the craftable old classic.
Yeah,
level 50 game.
That's true. Next, I would like to hear Ishikawa-san's impression and thoughts on the flashback with the cast. Oh. Is there any point in reading that? We haven't really covered it on the show. It's weird to hear someone recite something we haven't covered.
No, there's not really anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So that's Ishikawa, and Takiyanagi. All right. This is the last one, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is with Oragiri K and Shoichi Matsuzawa. Shoichi.
What a laugh.
Okay, so Oragiri is working primarily in group posts or content replay.
Yeah.
As game UI designer. Yeah.
And then the best guy.
Shoichi Matsuzawa working on a broad variety of tasks such as budget calculation and, and execution to project management on various updates and so on as the lead project manager.
Yeah, budget
calculation.
Execution.
But yes. Yeah. All right. Let's no.
Skip the first part.
Yeah, we see specialized stickers and frames added into the group post feature in conjunction with the Digital Fan Festival. So I'd like to know how this implementation came to mind. Odagiri says, as we're currently in the situation where players could not attend the event physically, every one of us had the same thought of wanting our players to enjoy the event with something. We've looked through many screenshots being taken on social media, and we received a suggestion. And thought it would be a good idea to prepare universally used screenshot frames that give out a sense of unity. So that's how the idea came to reality. From there, we managed to prepare a large amount of... What am I reading? To prepare a large amount of frames, and using them will allow the pictures to look firm and well built. Oh, sometimes I just imagine looking at myself, looking at the stream and just listening to what I'm reading. I literally just read that they prepared a large amount of frames, and using them will allow the pictures to look firm and well built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see the issue here.
It's just, it's a sentence. Although one of the frames suggested where it looked like a stage ended up getting a dramatic no-go sign from Yoshida. Laughs bitterly. Ultimately, it was created after 3 retakes, so in a sense, it's one work that I'm proud of. Do you have anything to say about what I just read, right? Did you have anything to say? How did you feel about this? Yeah?
I mean...
Interesting? Cool.
It's content that doesn't exist anymore.
Maybe he can craft some sturdy frames for the powerful pictures.
For when we enter the new zones.
For when we enter the new zones, I would like a frame that is firm and well built.
Mm-hmm.
I would like more visual effects we can put on our characters, like the frozen one or the on fire one.
Oh yeah. Seeing the actor Ryunosuke, elected to be the official ambassador of the game, what was the reaction from the both of you when that decision was made? Seeing Kamiki-san promoting the game made us feel at ease with not a single worry at all. It is a great honor to have famous figures who actually play 14 and become an ambassador to promote the game further. And this is something we truly appreciate and are thankful for.
Thank you. I think we already have Tom Holland.
Yeah.
That is true.
That is true. Considering this is the first ever digital fan festival, what do you think of this event as a project manager? Shoichi says, this is actually thanks to the excellent work by the community team and the promotion team. And to tell the truth, I personally did not move a finger here. Laughs.
That is funny.
That is really funny. Each time when we have this event, it is usually done by both teams. I am, however, the project manager for the development side, so I usually offer myself to help the players in playtesting as well as follow up on any task that needs to be done. So for this time, what I've done for this event here would be the arrangement of schedule to get the in-game FanFest specific items implemented into the game.
Okay. Talk more about the budget.
Can I just, you know what? This is corporate. I don't want to read this.
No.
What's coming next is literally like, buy our game, play it on the PS5, and that's where they talk the most.
Hey, they're talking about the potential 20.
Literally say, can you give us some PR information from each of you? And it's like 2 pages of text.
Well, that part is uninteresting. But hey, they talk about a potential 24-man mount.
Yeah, and they laughed. And everyone laughed. Because Matsuzawa was like thinking about
We
how
are
much he could
18
price
minutes
it
over
at.
time. I'm trying to like get
No, that's fine. I think we've
nudge
read
us
everything.
the
towards
last
the
part.
end.
We've
All
read
right.
everything we need.
Okay.
We're done.
That's it. That is the interview with that's the Famitsu interview
I enjoyed that.
from FanFest.
Mm-hmm.
Had some interesting stuff. Has a lot of uninteresting stuff as well, I will say, but mostly interesting and funny. Powerful pictures. We don't have time for Mogmail, which means Mogmail will go to the front next week. We're just gonna have to do it.
Yeah. So send it in.
Send it in, speakersxiv.com/mogmail. That's it for the show. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Minimum
We'll be
eye
back.
level.
Oh, yes, that's correct. We have to do minimum eye level.
Okay.
And we are going to... Oh, sorry. I should probably remove... that was Great Google Library. I have, for some
you
reason,
should
put it
remove
back
them,
in.
yeah.
All right.
Wait, was it hard then?
hard or good normal?
Hard.
Okay. Because Yogi was almost right then.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. It's at this...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to...
Gosh.
Oh!
It's a long name.
No, they're all the same size, so I wouldn't know.
Oh.
Belsar's Wall! Belsar's Wall! Belsar's Wall! You're just gonna have to ignore that Georgi is broken in this shot.
Oh no.
It is what it is.
Oh no. Oh.
This one does not cooperate well with 3-man. All right, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. Oh my god.
Finally. One of the good
Oh
ones.
my god. Blindfolded Lukiel. There it is. There it is.
This is going to be very funny. that poor coffee, yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Alright, well, we'll see how that goes.
that's a new one.
This will be fun.
We haven't done that
This
before.
is like no HUD, but
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, this is
But just for Lukiel.
Only
you're
for
gonna
you,
have to
yeah.
you're gonna have to guide me on a delay. Like there's gonna be like some
Yeah.
oh my god. That's yeah, alright. Well, there you go. Belsar's Wall with blindfolded Lukiel. That is tomorrow. Make sure you catch that. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersOfHeidland, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, links in the description. Remember to send us Mogmail, SpeakersXIV.com/Mogmail. Speakers Place is where all our old playthroughs, well, some of our old playthroughs go up. Silent Hill is done. You can watch the whole Silent Hill 1 playthrough now. You can actually watch our entire Silent Hill playthrough from 1 to 3. It's all on there. So if you want to watch that, go do that. All right, that's it. We'll see you.
Uploaded in a weird order, but yes.
Yes, it was. I don't really know why, but yeah, it was. We'll see you later. We'll see you in the post show, hopefully, if you're watching live. If not, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.